The best way to show you this is with case studies. A client had a sales funnel in place, but it was not working as well as it should. They had a good front-end offer and it was converting well, but the follow-up sequence was just not converting. The revenue from the funnel was around $30,000 per month. They also had what I would describe as a very lumpy follow-up sequence. There didn't seem to be any conversation with the list, or flow to the sequence, or how they communicated with the list. I came up with a plan to completely overhaul their email marketing. I helped them create an entirely new autoresponder sequence that doubled their sales with no additional leads. That's the important point. No additional leads. So, for yourself when you're working with your team, you have to have those objectives. Clearly state the objectives you want to reach and what your team should be striving for. In this case, the objective was to improve their funnel by at least 20% over 60 days. 20% is a good number. So think about it. If you have $1 million a year revenue and it improves by 20%, that's an additional $200,000. And what they also wanted to do was to take away some of the overwhelm. The owner of the business felt overwhelmed all the time and that he never had enough time to do things. So the first thing I did was to help them help them structure themselves and their team a little bit better. And this is one way that you can get rid of the overwhelm and create more free time. If everybody knows what they're doing, and there's a clearly defined path that you can measure, then it makes everybody's life so much easier. So in this example, for example, it's called the OKR system, right? So first of all, you get the objective. So the objective for the email manager would be to double the conversion rate of the autoresponder. Now you have to help him. If he's not capable of doing it himself, what are the key results that you want to monitor? And that's, when I'm talking about freedom, once you can get to a stage where other people can monitor those key results. But in this case, it was to identify any email that wasn't converting at 2% or above, and then test the different delivery times, and then test different companies to deliver those emails. So the email manager knew where his objective was, and he knew how to get to where he wanted to go. Same with the copy team. We gave them objectives, and one of the things we asked them to do was to test 2 different sales copy for their sales page. There's lots of ways you can do this. You could test multiple copies, you could test variables on a particular page, but in this example we were testing one thing at a time. So their goal was to, let's say that sales page number 1 was the control, that means that's the one that they're taking their information and statistics from, was to create a page that beat sales page number 1 by at least 100%. So most people don't realize that most of the money you will ever make when you do email marketing is actually in the follow-up sequence. So the next thing we started working on was their autoresponder sequence. So this is an image. It's actually an image of after we had been working with them for a little bit. So the numbers are improved even more than when we first started. So when we looked at this, we looked at everything. We looked at how many people they sent it to, how many people opened, how many people clicked through, and most importantly, how many people were buying from that. So if you look over towards the right, you'll see there's a column there with the red circles around some of the numbers. What we did was we identified emails that weren't performing as well as what we expected. So if you look at the column on the right, that's 0.92%. That's the 1, 2, 3 from the right. So when we saw an email like that, we would, help them replace that email. So eventually we would replace that email to the point where it performed as expected. It's a process like anything else, but eventually that funnel was running like a Swiss watch. It worked to perfection. The end result was that they went from $30,000 a month to $65,000 per month in just 60 days. That's a 116% increase in revenue.